1.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to another Q&A. Joined today we have Mod Matt K,
Yo.
Ian,
Yeah.
Mod John C,
Hello.
Mod Reach,
Yep.
and myself, Mod Archie. Before we get into the questions today, we're going to get a recap of today's updates.
Do you want to talk about Thingy first?
Actually, yeah, in the background, we're also going to have, hopefully, some Snake Boss modeling. So, look forward to that, and we can get that fully set up. Mod Ghost is going to be in the background there. You can see him working on the Snake Boss. So, that'll definitely
Wave
be
and
fun
say
to
hello.
watch.
Oh, hello. Hi.
Some premium entertainment while we answer some questions. So, yeah, like I said, let's get into this. What happened today? What were the updates?
Okay, so important thing obviously is over the last week we've been running a survey to find out what you feel about the 5 sort of big issues that you guys are facing at the moment, and we got all the results back in and we looked at what we wanted to do and what we thought was the right thing to do. There's all the details are on the website as they are, but the big one obviously is splashing. What's going on with splashing, and we looked at what you guys wanted from the survey that we did, and there was sort of no real help on there to tell us what to do. Half of you wanted us to get rid of it, half of you wanted us to keep it. So we sort of had to sit there and think, right, what have we got to do? You know, we can't poll anything because nothing's going to pass. We've got to make a decision on what is the right thing to do. So we looked at what splashing is, where it started, and the issues that you've been having, and thought the best thing we could do is to sort of reintroduce the random events type of thing, because that's when it started. Got rid of random events, splashing then appeared everywhere. So we thought we'd put in a random event type thing which just interrupts the combat, and then effectively is how it was 4 or 5 weeks ago. When did we release random events? Get rid of them.
End of summer, I think it was.
Yeah, sometime back,
September.
about 2-3 months ago. Yeah,
2-3 months ago. So yeah, so it's gone back to how it was at that stage. So we basically just rolled it back effectively. Obviously, people aren't going to be happy. I don't think there's a way we could have made a decision where everybody would have been happy, because half of you wanted completely opposite stuff. So we just made that decision because we felt it was best for the game. If everyone's getting 99 magic much easier, then it makes it very difficult, especially for Dan and the new continent, because you can't put any new magic content in there because everyone will have 99 magic and it serves no purpose. So we had to really step in and do that. We think it's for the best. We know some of you are going to be unhappy with it. We know some of you are going to be happy with it. But it's the way it's going to be for the time being. Other things, commission staking we also dealt with as well. As we said in the news post, 60% of all the real world trading bans we've done are from people related to commission staking friends chats. So we stopped that dead. I mean, that's something that you can't do anymore. And if you do it, we will be quite horrible back. Effectively, we just can't allow real world trading to continue in game, and this is the biggest way of doing it at the moment, and we stopped that. What else did we do?
It can be reported.
Can be reported, yes, absolutely. Yeah, so if you do see it, you can report it in-game under the real-world trading category. If it is the actual friends chat itself, or if someone's advertising it, report it under offensive language, and our guys will pick it up from there.
Yep.
There's also a thread on the forums where you can list any friends chats that you see and any ranks in that friends chat, and then we can investigate all those and take care of them as well. So bottom line is, commission staking was a front for real world trading, and we're not going to let that happen. It's not fair on you guys, so that's stopped now. What else did we have? We had Nightmare Zone. Now there's a big difference between splashing and Nightmare Zone. When we're looking at sort of the issues that you were bringing up and the things you were talking about surrounding the survey we did last week, there was obviously a big difference between splashing and Nightmare Zone. As splashing, you could rock up on any character and just start off and just carry on doing it. Nightmare Zone, you need a lot much better characters to do it. You need to have your Guthans, you need your levels, and you need your money to be able to buy your Guthans and carry on doing that. We've also, in the past, done some polls deliberately to affect that as well, and they've always failed. So we didn't want to go and make a change suddenly when you've deliberately, no polls have passed a vote. So yeah, so we need to take some more advice on that, more ideas from you guys, and see where we go from there. But at the moment, that's staying the same. Gold swapping was another one. I think I'm doing all the talking here. Have fun back there.
Yeah,
yeah, good. So yeah, gold swapping. About 8% of our players pay with bonds, and the way they get bonds is by using the gold swapping to get the money into RS3, so they can actually buy the bonds. It's not official, it's not a particularly nice way of doing it, but one thing we don't want to do is stop these 8% of people being able to buy membership in the way they want to. It doesn't make sense commercially. And it doesn't seem fair on those 8% of people, so we'll be keeping that as it is as well. And finally, there was the untradables in the wilderness. Now, beginning of the year, we did the Wilderness Rejuvenation Project, where the behaviour of this changed in the wilderness anyway. So level 20, or was it 21 and above, if you die in the wilderness, all your untradables will drop as gold anyway. The amount of people who actually posted didn't know not knowing that was quite surprising. So that happened back at the beginning of the year. We're going to keep it the same, so we think that's sort of a fair middle ground of where things are going. But again, we will take feedback on board and take it from there. So that's happened with that, and there's a few unusual chickens wandering around that might give you a Thanksgiving dinner, which is always very nice.
Yeah, like
Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, by the way.
Yeah, they're definitely not turkeys.
Definitely not turkeys. If you examine them, it says that.
So, real quick, just so we can go back over it, the biggest question that I'm not going to ask today, we'll get it out of the way right now. Splashing, what can you do and what can't you do?
If you can do it, you can do it. I mean, there's nothing stopping you splashing now. I mean, you can go to any world, you can splash. That combat will get interrupted at some point. But what you can't do now is you can't sit there and splash for 6 hours and go to sleep and have your tea, or go to school, or go to work, or go to the pub, or whatever you happen to want to do. You do need an interaction over a short period of time to do that. So you can keep splashing if you want to. You just need to be at your computer ready to do it. So that's not changed. You can go into a PvP world and splash anywhere where there's not a random event that's going to happen. You can splash there. So if you wanted to go into God of War's boss rooms and splash, you can. I don't know why you'd want to, but you can do that if you really wanted to. But if you can do it, you can do it. We've not made it against the rules or anything like that. So we've just put in some mechanics to make it a bit more, what's the right word, a bit more involved when you want to do it, really.
Cool. All right, now that's out of the way. Let's get into the questions. Okay, first question, completely off topic. This one's from End Soon Begins. Is there any way to queue up additional movements on the mini-map? Apparently other games have this, whereas the game I'm talking about.
There isn't currently in the engine. I mean, from my point of view, normally playing Old School Runescape, certainly the mini-map is so small, I typically find I'm clicking right on the edge of the mini-map anyway, so I don't know, I'd see a huge amount of benefit in being able to click again.
I'd have to agree.
It's potentially something that could be put in, but I don't personally see it being a huge amount of use.
No. Trying to think of a situation where that'd be more useful, not really coming to mind. Maybe if you had to run across a river and didn't want to have that weird backtracking effect.
Yeah. Route finding maybe is the only way to do it, isn't it? If you think there's a quicker route and the route finder isn't taking you there in the quickest way, maybe. But huge issue these days. Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Again from End Soon Begins. Is there a time cap in between ecumenical keys? Hopefully I said that right. Before you can get another. And I believe actually do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, Ash wrote this, so it's a shame he's not here. He's on holiday, by the way. I think there is a ever so small one, not more than a minute between them. But I couldn't say for sure. I could go and look it up.
I haven't looked at that script. I would have thought there wouldn't have been. But
no, I think we put one in.
I read
at least there used to be. We might have taken it out.
Okay.
Apparently you can have this might be wrong, you can have a max of 3. After you get your first one, your chances of getting the second one are then something like doubled.
No, just slightly lower.
Okay, and then third one is even rarer.
I think it goes
than
from
that,
1 in 60 to 1 in 70 to 1 in 80.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
That sounds more like something Ash would do.
And if you complete the Wilderness Achievement Diary, you can have up to 5.
Ooh.
Oh, that's good. All right.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Alrighty then, a little teaser. This one's from The Zero TV. Could we get some sort of labeling system on the friends list so I can remember why I added a player?
I would love such a system. I think RS3 got one recently where you could leave notes on your on friends and say this is what their original login name was because you couldn't remember who they are originally, or you leave little notes about their ability in a mini game so you don't go with them again, or just general notes. I think a feature like that we could probably get from you at some point. I wonder
if we took all the notes from RS3 on the friends and found the most commonly used words, what would come up?
In the browsing I've done of the friends I have to see if any of them gave me any snide comments, they hadn't. But I had seen what they left for other people, and a few words did crop up a few times.
Bad words.
I think for the friend system, not only noting people, I'd like to be able to group friends, so you could have like a close friends group or a mini games friends group.
Yeah.
A group for pretty much anything. Just to be able to group your friends list. I'd like to do that within the same update if we were to do an update.
Where are they storing that? It can't be on the friends server, otherwise it would affect us anyway.
I looked to Ian for that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously your friends list is shared between both versions of the game, so If you want to do anything particularly complex, it is probably going to need friend server support and to be an RS3 as well as a result of that. If you say they've already got a system for adding notes to existing friends, then I can look into how they've done that. That's not a problem.
I don't see the RS3 players disagreeing with having grouping. I know there's something they'd like to have as well. I mean, if we can get the note system, because they've got the note system and it's in the friend server already, we should be able to convince them to also have grouping.
So is it doable then?
I think it needs further investigation.
Yeah, I'll certainly investigate it. I'll look at how RS3's done it.
I know the Ninja team for RS3 are definitely keen on getting grouping in their friend system as well. So it's
really
something
like to
that I
see
know we share as as 2 games. There's an update we both would like to have.
Awesome. All right, good question. This one's from Pro, and he's asking for a new Slayer monster drop. Not a monster, sorry, a drop from new Slayer monster, being something like a ring that, when worn, keeps monsters aggressive until you take it off.
We can give you any item that does that, I think. Yeah, we can control
It's an
monster
interesting
aggressiveness.
concept.
And they get interrupted by the...
Yeah, and
I was thinking, didn't we do something earlier today that would stop that? Well, it would only stop it if you were able to AFK, or not have to heal yourself or something
Seeing
of
as
the
it's
sort.
kind of a Slayer item, maybe it can only be used for Slayer tasks?
Yeah, we can make it do that. I can see where it'd be useful as well. Having to reset aggro at places like Black Demons is kind of annoying.
Yeah.
The same with Dark Beasts are permanently aggro.
Yeah,
aren't they?
Dark Beasts are permanently aggro.
Seems they're kind of against that idea, surprisingly. I would think it'd be a nice advantage. All
So
right.
someone's calling it the AFK ring, which is effectively what it would be.
Yeah, but of course that would be affected by the timer as well.
Yes, it would.
You can't really AFK a Slayer task.
Yeah.
Can you?
I'm sure somebody could try.
Depending on what task it is, fair enough. All right.
Define AFK really. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do a task away from my keyboard for an hour or 2 hours, etc.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. This one's from Sony22. He's asking which JMON's decision it was originally to introduce Old School RuneScape, who had the primary push for it.
I remember 2 years ago putting a post on our staff intranet forums, which is obviously our own internal forums where we post, you know, I'm selling something, does anybody in the office want it? Or I'm going out this evening, does anybody know a good place to go? Or something like that. I remember posting I'd like to see an 06 server way back in the day. And I got a lot of posts going, oh, you're just an internet troll that escaped from the RS forums, or that would never work. And I remember it coming up one day.
Are you trying to say it was you?
I'm not taking credit for it, but when Old School came out, I replied to that thread going, oh, is it silly? Is it still such a bad idea? And I replied again a year later going, we're still here a year later. Is it still a bad idea? I don't know whose actual decision it was to implement Old School, but...
I think basically as soon as we found we'd got a backup of the correct sort of era, I don't think there was really anyone who was like, this is a bad idea.
No.
Everyone's like, yeah, great, we definitely want to bring that back.
Well, I remember talking to Phil, who said, I was told I couldn't get it running, so I wanted to prove someone wrong, and then did get it running. And it's like, well, we've got a game now, we might as well do something with it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we didn't really get a solid answer to that. Like,
I don't know the individual. I mean, it would have gone through multiple people.
I doubt there was an individual, but you know, obviously MMG would have been the lead behind it to make it happen because he obviously was the boss at the time.
That's true.
And I mean, Phil had a big thing behind it, didn't he?
Yes,
as
absolutely.
did Ash as well. Was Ash and what's his mod name?
Nexus.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ash and Nexus were both heavily involved in that stage as well.
That was a busy time.
Yeah.
All right, next question. This one's from Weepinator. Can we have the ability to set goals for skills? And then a kind of different side topic, or monsters killed. Like if I wanted to kill 600 total hellhounds, it could say I've killed, you know, kind of like a Slayer.
Skill
Just
targets.
setting your own counter.
Yeah, it's effectively your own personal
goals.
skill system or task system.
Skill targets is doable. I think Ash has talked about it before. I think you'd like to do it as well, but it's not a small job. The kill thing, I'm not sure what's involved with that.
You're effectively asking for your own task system, which would actually be quite nice. I would like something like
From
that.
a player's point of view, that seems like quite a fun
We'd
thing
have to give you a predefined list of things you could set for yourself, and then you choose through a custom list of all those things that we've
You'd have
given
to
you
have
to
trackers
pick.
for all of them, wouldn't
How
we?
many different monsters have we got in game?
A few thousand.
A few thousand, yeah.
What about something like, well, this is getting way more complicated, but a hilt from each God Wars monster, setting that as a task.
That's something we can do.
Yeah.
It's like, as John
Interesting
said,
goals.
it's not a small job at all. That's a rather big system.
Yeah, given those things can sort of be done anyway, like tracking 4 hilts from God Wars or something, that we wouldn't really justify the time it would take us, but we could set up like kill counters for.
I think we could do better
some popular monsters.
with data warehousing and information,
definitely.
something like that. I think we could do more impactful statistics, things like that, without actually having to put any real content work in.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Although, I mean, certainly with things like this before, the reason people have been interested in them is if they're working towards a specific target of a specific level. They want to see their progress, immediately. Whereas some kind of external statistical database system, you're not going to get that immediate feedback.
Well, as for setting a goal target on a skill, say I want to reach 10 million XP or level 99 or something, I think that's, as you say, Ash just talked about that. That's something we can do content side with relative ease.
And I don't see anyone complaining about that either.
No,
who doesn't benefit from that?
And like the Slayer log, I wouldn't mind adding like a book of just a general monster log and putting just about everything we can think of in there that's likely to get killed.
Yeah, that'd be nice. All right, next question. A little bit different. This one's from Deberk Wolfcall. Would a Twitch plays RuneScape still be considered botting?
It is a bot. It boils down that it's a bot. So there you go. It automates processes based on other inputs. We will accidentally ban it multiple times. I'll tell you that now because that's how our bot software works. And we will unban it each time we find that it's been banned, because although technically it is a bot, it's actually quite a fun thing to watch, and it's not gaining any benefit from doing it. So we will keep an eye on it, and if it does get banned, you have to tell us, and then we'll unban it. And I apologise.
Yeah, it's ruthlessly inefficient for a profile, so you don't have to worry about the account all of a sudden overtaking you on the high scores, because when there's 40 people trying to tell it to cut a tree, walk left, go south, attack an imp, it has no idea what it's doing.
It's a low its fury.
So exactly. So it's not really the most efficient way of leveling in a character.
It's the worst XP waste known to RuneScape. But there's one actually right now, Ultimate Iron Man. You can't trade it anything, so there you go. And I believe it actually has restrictions, like it can't enter the wilderness. Anyways. All right, next question. This one's from Super Teds. Can we have the option to rearrange our bank tabs to have the first random junk tab as the last tab?
I don't know what he means by the last bit, but you can already rearrange your bank tabs.
Yeah, more of an OCD thing. So I think he's just saying, like, when you dump your inventory back into your bank, he wants to have the initial, just bunch of stuff that you've just dumped go to the end.
Then click on the end.
Yeah. It's really just personal.
I'm slightly confused.
Okay, fair enough.
You can already rearrange your bank tabs.
There's more bank tab customization. I think they're already fairly customizable as it is.
Maybe it just means selecting a different default as the tab that's open when you open the bank.
That's what it probably sounds like.
Yeah.
That would be easy enough.
Yeah, that Ash can do that.
We'll work some more wizardry into that bank.
Yeah.
We get quite a few OCD questions, though. People really care a lot about that small stuff. So
well, I can appreciate that.
Small nitty things.
I think most of us have got OCD in one way or another.
We can all relate. All right, this one's from Maths. Can we expect to see anything like the Dragon Warhammer or Dragon Short Sword with the new continent?
So far, I hadn't planned on doing anything as such, but there's certainly no reason why we can't. I mean, we have other dragon weapons to fulfill. There's no reason.
For example.
Doors.
Claws.
Claws.
Yeah, they'll go into the new continent.
I'm not confirming any of that one. Certainly not. There's nothing holding us back from doing so. I saw a nice post on, I think it was Reddit, talking about populating the area or the new continent with quests, and some people were just wanting any old quest just for the sake of having some quests, and some people wanted some real storyline behind them, just so it wasn't some superfluous bit of text that meant that you had to go here, there, and everywhere just for the sake of doing so. With things like that, I'm definitely game for things like that, although that's going to extend the development time that it's going to take. However, quests are something that I would really like to write. I would really like to give people substance from it as well, and more dragon items such as the dragon kite, short sword.
Plate body?
Plate body, even plate body. I mean, we don't have to stick to the standard convention of how we introduced the plate body originally. We can do it in a different way.
Maybe a new monster. Never know.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on to the next controversial topic, if we may.
Of course.
That being AHK.
AHK, for those who don't know,
want to touch on
auto hotkeys. There's some advice been going around in the last sort of maybe couple of years even, where there is a rule that we have where if you put one input into the game, if it results in one action, then it's all right to do it. That isn't quite right. Best advice we can give you for what you can and can't use is if you're automating something, you're probably going to run the risk of being banned. And it's the automation of the process which is the problem. I can't go into much more detail because obviously we don't want to sort of give more information away than we have to when it comes to what we do with bots. But effectively, if you're trying to automate a process, chances are you're going to get banned for it. Auto hotkeys in itself is a program. We're not going to go through a list of programs and say you can use this, you can't use that, you can use this, you can't use that, because people will take that and try and bot using it and use it as an excuse to why they shouldn't have been banned. But the bottom line is, if you think you might get banned for it, if you think you might be automating a process, don't do it and just play normally. Simple as that.
All right, there you go. Okay, this one's from Sergio I. Will Old School Runescape ever see a new minigame?
We got one last year.
Yeah,
They did.
No reason we can't have one next year.
I think we even touched upon a few ones at RuneFest on your. Here's other things we might be able to do.
Yes, yeah, there's a Slayer one, wasn't there? Which is a
Slayer one. I made a complete Titanfall rip-off called Titan Brawl.
Yeah, that's right.
No, that was completely unique.
No, yeah, it is totally. Certainly, there's no reason why not. I think if people want one and they turn out to be, or it turns out to be their next priority, then we can certainly do it.
All right,
I don't think it's ever going to make it in game, but I've still got a brief knocking around somewhere for RuneScape Crazy Golf, which utilised.
I do not want to make that.
Utilised every skill that was in the game at the time.
that sounds fun.
You had to use like.
Dungeoneering
It really doesn't.
All right, let's actually hop over to Gareth, who's got some progress done, it looks like, on the snake boss modeling.
Yeah, sure, we're getting there. So basically, the thing I normally start doing when I begin modelling is just to get the basic outline of the snake right. It's kind of like a trial and error process. So as you can see, we're sort of about 20 minutes in at this point, and I'm not particularly happy with this. It looks a bit too cheerful and happy. So if we just look at the concept, which I've got just here, I need to start pulling in a few more of these details, just so we actually get some of these sort of like sharp fangs and everything, and that will sort of really make it look a bit more vicious then. But at the moment it just looks like a snake without its dentures in, which isn't particularly intimidating. So hopefully in a few more minutes, when you come back to me, it will start looking
So
a
unless
bit
his
more
mic's
aggressive.
muted.
It was for the first 5 seconds.
That's all right.
Cool.
Simon's fault.
Okay, cool. We good?
Come here and apologise, Simon.
Cool. Yeah, so basically I'll just carry on with this, and hopefully in another 20 minutes we'll have something that looks a bit more like the concept.
All right, awesome.
Cool.
Keep in mind, guys, this is not something you typically want to rush to do within an hour to have a final product, for sure. Anyways, all right, next question. This one's from Bot Busting RS. Can we get a buff to the Vedion drop tables? Vetion?
Vishan.
Vishan?
Time, whatever people want to say.
Vishan? Currently, no one kills him due to the fact that he's difficult and tedious to kill, and you'll most likely lose profit. His words, not mine.
I think we're more likely just to wind him down in terms of difficulty rather than buff his drop table.
I think I've had a
Fair
few
enough.
requests to do things like that.
We've been meaning to do it for quite some time now, actually.
Okay, there you go. Pretty solid answer right there. Secrets to RS, asking, can the snake boss drop a fang that can be used, this is a complicated one, to create snake fang darts? Essentially, some people are just complaining, saying that they don't think the snake fang should use dragon darts.
It can. There's nothing stopping us from adding more darts. I've seen a few requests for it, but I'd rather see the blowpipe go out, provided it passes, and see how powerful it is, how people deal with it, before introducing something a bit more powerful.
Yep.
But yeah, there's nothing stopping us doing that at all. Again, it's something we'll look at post-launch, I think.
Cool, fair enough. We've actually just released the poll for the snake boss,
Yes,
correct?
yeah, I think it's passing with 88% when we last looked.
So there you go, guys. Get voting.
Really popular.
All right, this one's from Rahazimzam. There's some H's in there. Can we pull the negative mage level effect from pre-EOC? An example being that if you try to cast Ice Barrage with 90 out of 94 magic, you would still be able to cast it, just extremely inaccurate.
Yeah, we can do that. It's fairly simple.
Yeah.
Well, you have to modify every single spell, but yeah.
Personally, I'm not too sure if I would like to see that.
I don't know. I get the kind of feeling the players wouldn't really want
Yeah.
to
It
go
renders a
forward.
few things redundant, like the circle special attack, which is already quite useless.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right.
There's also a target thing for teleblocking. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah. That is the universal sign for teleblocking.
I knew
Okay.
exactly what you
Did you
meant.
not know?
Looking like a bunch of no's in the chat, so there's your answer. All right. This one's from Carrots357. Will the trading post ever be capable of offline trading or automated trading?
Yeah.
This has been a big
Automated,
topic.
yes. It's not an easy thing to do, but I expect we'll be offering that post-launch.
I would imagine so. We'll probably look at start offering different things to it next year. I'd imagine early next
Yeah,
year.
offline trading, I'm not really sure what's involved with that. It's one for Ash next week.
And it's something. I mean, the bottom line is we can do what you want it, whatever you want it to be. It doesn't mean that it's going to be easy for us to do.
Yeah.
But if you want offline trading, if you want to trade through it, we can do all that. We've designed the trading post with the idea that you're going to want it changed because although it passed the poll in the state it's in now, we're quite, you know, we understand that you guys are going to play with it for a bit. You're going to leave it a couple of weeks, try it out, see what you think, then come back to us with a whole load of suggestions of how it can be improved, and we're happy to listen to that and change that based on whatever you poll to change it with. So when it does come out, which is a couple of weeks now, I think, yeah, around a couple of weeks, if all goes to plan, then have a play with it over Christmas, get used to it, you know, and get some ideas, and then come back to us in the new year, and we'll poll some different features and then work through them.
Cool. All right.
That's probably the answer to that 4 questions you got there, isn't it?
That's all right. Next question. This one's from Gus Grimley. Can Champion Scrolls get a rework? Currently, they're quite useless.
I'd like to do Champion Scrolls.
Yeah.
I'd like to add more champions, and generally the last rework we had for them. Maybe not the little imp that follows you around. I don't know how people feel about that.
I'd like something like a banner that you can show off, just even if it's just a number of how many you've killed.
I think if we had like a cosmetic cape or something of the sort. I mean, having an imp follow you is cool and all, but it's rather annoying.
Something cosmetic to show off how many you've done.
And it wasn't really interesting. It was just like imp holding up Roman numerals for the amount of champions you killed. But I'd certainly like to do a champion scroll rework.
Do you have any idea exactly, like to a precise number, how rare they are?
1 in 5,000. They're all 1 in
5,000.
Wow.
They're not common.
So certainly deemable of a decent reward.
Yeah, I think so.
I can speak. All right. This one's from Orion Dave. Question for John ? And that's, what is the most interesting bug or glitch you've ever come across in your time with Old School Runescape?
Ooh, probably something you did.
I was just about to say, what have I done recently?
I know the interesting bug. Crate missing from...
Yeah, John.
You merged it.
I merged it, but then, you know...
I remember
I
you
didn't
saying,
QA it.
oh, there's an error, I'll just force it through.
No, every time you merge map squares, you get the error regardless of what map square you're in.
How often we hear this.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's...
It's interesting. I'm not going to start tearing apart things that didn't make it into live, because that's not really fair on these guys. But it's got still got with the Granite Maul. The fact that you could use the special attack through a wall is...
really?
Yeah, and that's a 12-year-old bug, by the way.
All right. I didn't see that one. I didn't use the Granite Maul much, though.
That's why we had to completely rewrite the special attack.
Okay. Matt, you said there was one about a
Yes,
face
yeah,
crotch.
face crotch. It's my favourite one, and it never got into live game, which is, you know, why I chose this one. But imagine your character's face, it rendered in the wrong place, which was here, and yeah. Don't need to add any more.
All right,
to
next
that.
question. So this one's from Seskamazu. He's asking for a separate whip only or DDS only option in the duel arena to prevent scamming.
Presets that Duel Arena, I think we discussed last week.
Yeah.
And
Presets is something that Ash and I have already done for the RS3 Duel Arena. In fact, before RS3 was even RS3, we even had Old School. The very last thing Ash and I did for RS3 before we moved to Old School was give the Duel Arena a proper rewrite to eliminate all the bug abuse that was there, because that's something Ash and I dealt with quite an awful lot of. And just make it generally easy to use, so much less anti-scamming mechanisms in there, such as the button fading out so you can't change it or accept anything if people change the rules, and just a preset option. So so you can repeat the last stakes. You have an option to do the last rule set that you had, or have a preset rule settings. So I think we could have something like that for sure. Cool. We'd have to rewrite the Duel Arena again, but that's something Ash and I know how to do.
Yeah, Ash has done it enough times.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely brought this up a couple times now, but it's kind of asked in a different way each time. This one's from 420 Blaze at Kush 69, and he asks, can we expect to see a new spellbook with the new continent?
Yes, sure, definitely. I mean, what do you want on it is the biggest question. I mean, I could populate it with spells that I think you might like, but again, only you know what you like. If you have a list of things you'd like to see on a new spellbook and a prayer book, then you're going to have to let us know, because that's exactly what I'll give you.
Yeah, it kind of goes hand in hand. There was another question asking for, will we ever see any prayers above 70? Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, there's no reason why not. I mean, I don't really like the fact that some skills like prayer, for example, cut off at a certain point. So obviously everything after level 70, I believe level 70 is the highest, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it still has benefits.
It does have benefit. It has the benefit of obviously having more prayer points, but it doesn't really have anything significant after level 70. Besides, I can have prayer on for longer. So I'd like to be able to have more content beyond the final levels, for sure, and a lot of skills. I mean, smithing and construction are the only two skills I know of that go up to 99. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but
technically strength,
hit
points.
But I'd like to put more content in a lot of the skills we've got right now.
Yeah, I think originally it was just Piety was probably a safe bet, because at the beginning of the game, obviously nobody was going to get to 95 prayer plus immediately anyways, and it would have been unfair.
Piety wasn't out with us big start of the game. It was
right.
2006, I think. Knight's Waves, King's Ransom.
2007, 2006.
Yeah, it was fairly recent in terms of our game build.
But now that we're approaching the game going longer, I'd say a fair amount more people would be able to reach 95 prayer at this point, if they haven't already. So, yeah. All right, next question. This one's from K. Zorla. Will the new continent be replacing the current best methods of training at all, or will it simply be additions?
One thing I would like the continent to do is to fix some of the problems we have with the current map. Not so much so that we end up taking everybody from the main map and moving them over here. I'd like this to solve some of the problems we have over here. So the best training spots you have over here are likely to stay here. Alternative training spots are likely to exist over here. It's very difficult to create a landmass to the scale of what we're trying to achieve without slightly undermining things that already exist over here. But we do have to move on at some point. We can't just treasure and hold on to what we've got right here now, otherwise we'll cram so much into this area that you'll have 1,000,001 different things to do in just one zone, and it's not healthy, it's not nice for the game. So I'd like to be able to expand and take some of the content that we'd like to do here and put it over here. So you're still going to have it in RuneScape. You would have had it here, it's just over here. Yeah. We're likely to have new best in slot items and new best training zones over here, but I don't want to completely eradicate the need or the desire for players to still exist and still wander around and still train on this part of the map. That's a very, very fine balance that we're going to have to work with, and obviously we've got the expertise within the team, and we're going to even reach out to the expertise within the community itself to make sure that everything that we do over here is not going to completely ruin your experience and the recognisable image you have for RuneScape that you originally have with the main RuneScape map. It's a very, very difficult balance. It's a very fine balance, but we're going to work with that as close as possible. That's something that's at the forefront of my mind at the time when I'm designing it, to make sure I'm not undermining or overlooking anything too significant. But we're going to keep you in the loop all the way, and if you think that anything that we're doing isn't good enough or is too good, and it will completely make this part of the main game redundant, then that's not what we're going to do.
Well put. All right. This one's from Flagstaff. Can we expect to see any new Iron Man updates coming in the near future?
Well, all updates, most updates probably affect Iron Man one way or another. Yeah. But don't think we're planning on any
Nothing Iron Man specific.
Okay. Unless they've got anything in mind, we can always take a look at it.
That would be tricky.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect to do any, but there's nothing stopping us should people want it.
While we're on the subject, might as well hop to this question. There's one asking about if the new continent will have anything for Iron Man in specific, an Iron Man only zone or anything like that.
Iron Man came in quite late into the very early design I had for the continent, at least, and no design is final. I mean, it changes all the time. It will change even after I launch it. I'm never happy with one prototype. You can never have one prototype. You'll always have 99, 100, 101 prototypes. At the time I was designing it, I had no idea we were even doing Iron Man, so I didn't put anything specific to Iron Man in there. Now we have Iron Man, things obviously naturally have to change. I will probably put some areas, or naturally I'll put areas in there that Iron Man can use, but as John said, no update is really ever catered specifically to an Iron Man. Obviously, if we do things like that, we'd have to poll it to the wider community. If the majority of the community say, no, I don't want Iron Man only to use this area, I'd like to use this area, then we're not going to have that feature. Right. So every update can be used by an Iron Man within reason. I hadn't really planned on doing any Iron Man only areas.
Yeah, I personally don't have an Iron Man, but I would I don't know, I just think it'd be a cool concept. Like, I can understand where they're coming from with that.
And I can see why they'd like to have their own unique, little niche, somewhere they can go away from everybody else. But again, Pures want to have, pure armor and pure worlds and things like that, and Castle Wars players like to have their own Castle Wars worlds and everything else. If every player was to have their own little area, then no one would interact. It would just be your own, elitist areas, really.
That's true.
And we don't really want that.
Okay, fair enough. Next question, this should be a relatively easy one. Can you make saplings tradable?
We could.
Done.
I said we could.
No, it's doable. It's not impossible by any means.
Not easy?
Yeah,
it's
easy.
A
matter of changing trade equals yes.
Are there complications behind that?
Not really.
Seed prices might take a hit, but there's nothing complicated stopping us from making an item tradable or untradeable. It's easily doable.
All right, doable. Another farming question actually asking, this is quite a few asking for plant pots to be sold by the farmers at practice.
There's a lot of dialogue with some of those
they do.
farmers. There's a shop right next to every single...
That's what I actually thought when I was reading this, but it got asked by like a dozen people today, so I figured...
Well, someone important must have asked some people to ask it for them.
It's a possibility.
Doing these streams that like farming.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know people who hate farming besides us, really.
If there's anywhere in particular that they're struggling to get plant pots from, then we can take a look at it.
All right. So here's their content question. Alice Ranares, Will there be any different types of weather in the new continent? Yeah.
I would love weather. I would love to have day-night cycles.
Hurricane.
But RuneScape is not that sort of game. Or even, yeah, hurricanes and tsunamis and stuff.
So environments that can fight back.
There's going to be environments for sure. I mean,
Okay.
people have expressed interest in having a polar area, and I certainly agree. I'd like to have a polar area where survival is you know, there's a survival element to it, where fire making is actually useful for once. I had planned on an area similar to that, and so I just noticed I had a funny face from Mark over there. I'd like to have environments. I'd like to make some skills vital to that environment, like, such as fire making, especially if we had a polar area. So you can expect there to be snow and blizzards and that to have like a damage over time effect and things like that.
Awesome.
Underwater areas, for sure. I know we have some already in RuneScape, but I'd like to sort of expand on the underwater areas we have, just because, you know, I would really like to touch into the environments we have. We have deserts. You know, we don't really get any real desert effects. There's no sandstorms. Again, whilst RuneScape's not really a game for weather effects, I'd like to really immerse players into the environment they're in, just to really give that signature feel for, you know, what's important about the area and, you know, how, you know, the inhabitants of that area manage to survive with that. So it's almost real life. I'd like to inject some sort of reality into it, really.
That'd be really cool. Although it'd be difficult with the night and day schedule, having it over at one part but not the rest of RuneScape. But obviously, anyways.
I mentioned Sandstorm and now the chat's exploded.
Could we actually get a straw poll of that? Would you guys like to see weather with the new continent? Would you vote yes for that?
How do you feel about giving me a day-night cycle?
Would you like to tell us whether you'd like to see weather?
I mean, do you just want to do it like the NPCs change their behaviour, or do you want graphical changes? Or?
I imagine I'd have to have graphical changes.
Right.
So we'd go darker at night time naturally, and NPCs might become, well, I guess some NPCs become more aggressive and show up at night, and more NPCs disappear during the day.
Have it change across the world as well, so not everything goes dark at the same time. It can sort of be like a creeping sunset.
That's complicated.
So we take the current time zone of where the servers are and have it day-night depending on where you
Not
are.
necessarily the servers, but the actual world itself. So it gets darker in Prifddinas first, and then it gets over to
Oh, I see.
Valkyrie.
Now you're asking for a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean weather wasn't weather and sun cycle?
Changing NPC behaviours and things like that's easy.
Yeah, it is.
Changing lighting behaviour or effects like that.
Yeah.
It's a very big change.
I imagine that'd be a nice job for Gareth as well, Mod Ghost. We do have snow falling on Christmas.
Yeah.
So you can do something similar for sand.
Those are pretty nifty overlays. I mean, those are really easy to do.
They're not dynamic though.
They're not, no.
Yeah, you can do sort of faked out effects like rain
Yeah.
coming across the front of the screen or snow going across the front of the screen. To actually have all the scenery change and snow to pile up and stuff. That's
Rains, it can speed up your farming, growing stuff as well.
Oh,
now
you're
we're
getting
getting into a completely different element.
All right. Let's see here. There's a question about Vinesweeper. Do we want to touch on that?
Not a fun mini game. At least I didn't think so.
I'm not a huge fan of that, just game in general, let alone Minesweeper included, to be fair.
In terms of it coming to old school, with every other mini game that we touch on, we could try our best to recreate it. It would never be exactly the same.
When was it out? 08 or something?
It was fairly, 08, 09. It wasn't the most popular of mini games.
No?
I don't think the community would like us to spend a lot of time on it.
I think if they wanted a mini game, they'd more likely want something like Soul Wars than Minesweeper. So, I mean, if you're offering a mini game that already existed, at least.
All right. Let's see here. Let's see. All right. This one's from Ayavera. When can we expect to see the near pass repull?
Ronan?
Next year.
Next year.
Next year, which is like a month and a few days away. So we've got the straw poll for weather in the new continent, and that's passing by.
That's
another big job for next year then.
entirely surprising.
You might need.
No, I mean I can't imagine anybody wanting to say no really to
it's an
new
awesome
weather.
idea.
I mean, I know there have people that did no and everything, but I expected a majority of people to say yes, I'd like the weather and I'd like day-night cycles, but it wasn't. It's not a surprise that many people have voted yes by any means.
All right.
I mean, the surprise would be how much trying to explain to them how difficult that would actually be to do.
I think it's
a question
fairly.
of how convincing you want to make it, really. I mean, obviously we can add locations and change NPC behaviour and potentially show them a different version of the map square at night time. But
send all the NPCs to bed.
It's almost the
Point,
point.
yes. But there were 2x2 houses.
Yeah.
It's almost the point you make fire making more useful. Create torches.
Isn't it? You're probably unlikely to get a linear sort of sun going down and snow building up and that sort of thing.
It would just be a case of this is day, now it's night.
Yeah.
This is winter, now it's summer. Yeah.
You can have different variations. If you can have 2 variations, you can have 4 variations. So
Oh
you
my,
can have daylight, twilight,
Alright,
talking.
let's give Dan the rest.
dawn.
let's stop talking.
While we're on massive topics and very light
Twilight.
jobs, this is another question from A. Vera asking if Old School RuneScape will ever see a new skill.
Well, we offered you one.
That's true.
You didn't go down too well.
We'll be looking at offering another one next year.
Yeah. Be taking player submissions for that?
Nope.
Nope. That's all us?
No,
Oh, yeah, you
Do we have an idea I don't know
Yes.
about? Okay.
Yes, yeah. I'll tell you later.
There's
Have
4
to
that
fill
we
me in
have.
on that one.
There's 4 I know that we've got on the suggestion list.
That was one.
There's one. Yeah.
I know which one
Yeah.
we're going to propose.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I'm looking forward to this now.
We've
Okay.
got secrets. No.
This one's from @ZondaWoe. If we have a dusty key in our inventory, can we click on the gate for it to open rather than having to click on the key to the gate?
yes.
All right.
I'd like to
did
do
annoy
that
me a
in
little
every
bit.
area where that happens, to be honest.
Agreed.
Yeah, just thinking.
Awesome. Fairly straightforward answer. There you go. Okay, next question. This one's from Green Door. When will the dev blog for the Dragon Defender be coming out?
They really want that Dragon
I
Defender?
don't think we're going to do a devlog specifically for the Dragon Defender.
Oh, we'll
Really?
touch on it
That'd
next
be the
year.
quickest
Okay.
dev blog ever, wouldn't it? Would you like a Dragon Defender? And we know you all want it from the
Yes.
Warriors Guild, so end of dev blog.
Give me the worst devlog.
Yeah. I don't even think we need to straw poll that. Can we get a Jad pet? Let's hop into that
Slash
again.
new fight kill.
We discussed that today. I was pondering the possibility of having it unlocked via completing the Elite's Garamja diary. But
Do you want to tell them for what your
Please do.
proposed...
oh yeah, 55 capes and a million tockle.
Yeah, that's what you
50 fire
suggested.
capes for a Jad pet.
And a million tockle.
But
That's what he suggested.
Disregard the toggle. 50 fire capes.
that's what 46 hours on average if you're maxed and
I
decent.
point out that we pondered the idea.
Yeah, we're not
and
doing
then-
it.
And then said no.
That's an awesome
A fight
idea.
kiln, however, I am more than happy to do any extension to the fight caves.
Yeah, but yeah, the thing that stopped us doing it really was the fact that the achievement diaries hasn't got a whole lot to do with PVM, and boss pets
Yeah.
sort of don't really fit into that. So,
I love the idea of the extremely difficult requirements, though. Like,
well, 91 Runecraft isn't going to appeal to most PVMers.
yeah. All right.
We will offer one at some point, probably with a whole bunch of other Slayer changes that we've been talking about for a while at some point next year.
There you go. Okay. Next question from Menaceman22. Is it possible to have Burt Sand / Tears of Guthix reset at the same time each day?
Yeah, but I think Bert's resets at midnight / 1 a.m. It resets midnight UTC, and
looked like
Tears
code earlier,
resets
actually.
What time zone is it? We're talking GMT?
universal time.
Okay.
Yeah, GMT.
I think Tears resets from the minute when you last completed it. It's like 4 in the
Yes,
afternoon.
Tears,
Oh, so that's not doable.
Tears uses minutes to the minute.
I think Miscellanea is the same.
Yeah, I think Bert does his at midnight.
We can change those to use rune days. It wouldn't be a
Yeah.
fun thing to fiddle with.
I know Bert's does use that because I was in Bert's code yesterday, so I happened to have strolled past
Does
that.
Bert know about that?
No, Bert
Did
does
he
not know I was in
complain?
his code yesterday.
Or, another spoiler, you could complete the Elite Ardoin diary and he'll just deliver it automatically.
That might be why I was in the Bert's code.
No, I read that on there this afternoon.
Can we just get a...
Oh, no, you got Bert's one in there already.
No, this is a reward. Oh, yeah, right, yeah, visit Bert.
No, I've already been in Bert's code because there was something there for
I've
you.
written 600 tasks, I was going to forget something.
Just real quick before the next question. You said Ardoin. That's how it's said? Ardoin?
That's how I
Just
say
for the
it.
record, Ardoin.
It is Ardoin.
That is our...
It's not
with
our
the G
Down,
in
our
there.
Doong, our Dugny, our Doog,
Our Dugan.
our Dugan,
All
our
right.
Doing.
All right. You know what?
That's
Let's
one.
get into
That's one for the
question.
Mythbusters stream.
This is another one of those OCD questions that's really going to apply to a few players. Can we get a warning message before emptying potions for Herblord, accidentally emptying a potion? And also, can we not can we not drink a prayer potion if we're already full prayer points?
That is
There's a lot.
doable.
There's a lot of ifs.
The
If-
warning
if.
on the potions, I don't see going down too well.
No.
And that's a lot of different potions.
A warning we can disable, so we can do things like that, and much like the ALK warning, we can have it permanently disabled should you not want to ever see it again. Those things are doable. There's nothing there stopping us really doing it besides having to go through each individual potion. Bearing in mind there's usually 4 of each potion, times that by how many potions we have, and we have to do it for that many. Doable, it's not really a problem. That is, we've done bigger jobs than that. For drinking a potion, if you already have full prayer points, things like that, again, that's easily doable. There's no reason why we can't do that. They are things we can do, and we can have them on a toggle so you can disable them should you need to.
But I can imagine your time would be better spent elsewhere.
Oh, the prayer thing would take 5
The
minutes.
prayer thing
Yeah?
would take no time at all.
Potion,
That's easy.
a couple of hours.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's not a big job, but it's not a small job, it's a sizable job. But again, if we were to do that, I'd expect it to be on a toggle that players could then disable, because they might want to decant pots very, very quickly. And I wouldn't want to have to decant a pot, click yes again, decant a pot, click yes again. I'd just rather have a toggle that you can just turn it all off, is what I expect us to do.
There you go. I was expecting a quick no. Much better. So this one's from the Watcho. Can we get a banker instead of a deposit box at the Port Khazard would be ideal for Ironman?
Sure.
Thinker.
Yeah.
Can't see a reason why not.
Yeah, there's no real reason.
They've asked for the same thing at Barbarian Assault.
There's some quest stuff around there. I don't think it will interrupt that too much though, will it?
Perhaps if you complete the Arduin diary, Port Khazard would be able to afford a banker.
These diaries.
Yeah, there's a lot of diaries going on right now.
I've been finalising the rewards this afternoon. So it's like,
It's the focus of my life right now.
All right. This is another commonly asked one. This is from Pullman. Can anything be done so that we don't accidentally add players by clicking in the chat box?
delete them. It's the default left click up on the chat on a name in the chat is add friend. We could change it.
Yeah.
What will be the question?
This is really like the smallest of the small right here. I mean.
Yeah. I think I'd be more likely to ask for, could we have you've just deleted this friend message whenever you delete somebody, for when you accidentally delete somebody on your friends list, you have no idea who. Okay. I think that would be more rewarding.
That's a good idea. Thought I'd throw you guys a curveball, hit you with all the big questions first, leave the small ones for the end.
Should we see how Mod Ghost is getting on with his snake?
Yeah, sure. Let's hop over to Mod Ghost with his 3D modeling of the snake boss.
Cool. I assume it's this screen you can see just here. Are we showing that to them? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Right. So if you look at the concept again, we've just got the fangs in now, and I'm starting to work on sort of like this detail on the upper body areas here as well. So you can see it's starting to look slightly more aggressive. If you notice, before there was sort of like a downward curve here, and that's kind of like made the snake look like smiling. So often when you model something, you've got to think about the aesthetic curve from all angles. So whilst it might look, you know, relatively snake-like from this direction, as soon as I turned it round to the side, we were having like a smiling snake. So I've actually like reversed that curve now. So like there's more of an arch, more of like a sneering sort of look to the snake. So it's still in its first stages at the moment, but it's kind of like building in these aesthetic curves to start off with before we actually add in the detail. And yeah, that's where I am now. So it's just a few more little things to build in, then I can really start going to town with it.
Awesome, cool. Okay, let's head back over to the questions. All right, this is a bit more of an idea than a question. This is from Baratho, and he's asking for the special, the Sapphire Bolts, that currently drain your enemy's prayer and increase your own by the same amount, I believe, to be more useful, because nobody obviously uses them in PvP where they should be used, or mini games even. So maybe a similar effect for against monsters?
I'm honestly not sure what they currently do.
I can't remember anybody using those bolts.
That's exactly what I'm saying, making them a bit more useful.
We can have a look at it.
I wouldn't limit it to just those that item, because I'm sure there's plenty bolts and darts and other ammo out there which are exactly the same, much like, you know, javelins. Yeah. I wouldn't limit it to just things like that. I'd try and find something to do with all the ammos we've got.
I could see that being useful, though. If a special of the bolt could recharge your prayer somewhat, that would help, I don't know, quicken the XP a little bit. Quicken? That's definitely not a word. Okay. Smudge the Pro. What will be the similarities and differences between the Paradigm of Exodus and Dungeoneering?
I actually replied to that earlier on Twitter today. I wasn't sure that was actually a question that was directed at you. I thought that was just a question someone was tweeting, the pair of us. Sorry. Chest infection still. Oh, God. Oh, sorry. Some of the similarities, I mean, with Dungeoneering, you had to coordinate as a team to obviously go through puzzles and coordinate certain boss strategies. That's something that you're going to have to do within this raid that I've planned as well. There are going to be puzzles, not puzzles similar to Dungeoneering. You're not going to be expected to, you know, chop down this vine, walk through, chop down the next vine when the plant changes colour. The puzzles that involve the entire team being able to summon a demi-boss and, you know, ultimately be able to advance. Puzzles such as being able to jump through, you know, darkness, halls of darkness and things like that, and mirror rooms and whatnot. Obviously, you're going to have a specific party size, so a minimum party team or a max party team, so you're going to be able to go in all together. You're all going to be working as a team. You can be able to see what each other say at any point, which is a feature I quite like to have, actually. Ultimately, imagine dungeoneering, but not confined to the 10 by 10, I think it's 10 by 10 grid box rooms that you've got, where each room is obviously randomly generated. We're going to have randomly generated areas where you're going to go down a ladder, and perhaps, well, obviously, the last time you went down the ladder, you might have been in one room. The next time it was something completely different. It's not the same path each time through the raid. So there's a lot of similarities in worked, but just on a much more grand scale, a much more interactive, immersive scale. Dungeoneering is one of my favourite skills. I'm going to call it a skill that RS3 or Old RuneScape actually got, and I'd like to take a lot of what that made that really good, and what made that really enjoyable for a lot of people, and really build that into a proper raid environment and a proper raid setup. Anybody who's raided on any other games such as Destiny or WoW as such, if you take what they call a raid, that's what I'd like to be able to do with a lot of the elements that made dungeoneering successful.
Yeah, you're awesome. Do you want to dare touch on rewards comparing to dungeoneering? Being chaotic and whatnot.
Again, I'm using dungeoneering as an example because dungeoneering is, I think, the closest thing RuneScape really has to a raid. I'm not saying we're doing dungeoneering. We're not. So don't expect to sort of run in there, run to the end of the boss in a 3-minute floor, and then get titles at the end saying you did this, that, everything else, and then spend tokens that you magically got on chaotics. That's not actually what's going to happen. I'm using the mechanics, the randomly generated mechanics, the partying mechanics, the borrowing down mechanics from dungeoneering as the basis for this raid. So I don't sit there and expect to get chaotics because we haven't got any plans to do chaotics. Whilst there will be new weapons and new gear and new armor, they're not going to be chaotics unless you really want them to be, but I hadn't planned on that as such. I have tweeted some various armor sets already, things like that I'd planned, but again, those are just early designs. So that's all subject to change even after I finished it and I've moved on to a different part of the continent. I can come back to it and say, I don't quite like this isn't actually ticking the boxes that I wanted it to tick. Or, we done a play test and some players didn't like it. So, it's subject to change at all times, but don't expect dungeoneering rewards from this raid because it's not dungeoneering. It's just using some key elements from dungeoneering to make it more raid-esque.
Okay, there's your answer. Chaotics, not happening. So this is the last question actually from Poon Brigade. Will any additional crystal items be added? Apparently we spoke in 2005, and by we I mean you guys, of a new crystal weapon being the crystal halberd.
Oh, got it.
I've
Was that mentioned?
Yeah, it existed in my test stream. I made it last year at some point for the sake of, why not?
In fact, didn't we put it out last year?
Yeah,
no, sure we did.
Earlier this year, for the birthday event, I made a stand full of crystal halberds, and I put a take crystal halberd option on it. And when any player clicked on it, they got a message saying, "Oh no, you can't pick that up. I'm sorry. Love, Dan."
That's mean.
Yeah, it was. I got a lot of love and a lot of hate for it because a lot of people want a crystal halberd. It doesn't actually look like a halberd. It looks like a pike.
Yes.
It's not any. It doesn't resemble a halberd in any way really. But I think if we promised, I say we. I don't think we ever promised. If it was in 2005,
I don't
at the very
think
least.
it came out of my mouth.
No, it certainly didn't come out of mine because I started RuneScape in 2005 and I was a lot younger than I was now. It's not even young enough. Not even old enough to be employed. So it certainly wasn't me, promising crystal weapons. But if we made that promise, I guess we can fulfill it.
I did consider having it unlockable as a reward from the Western Achievement Diary.
There we go.
I'd be interested in a straw poll to see how well that went down. Would you like a crystal halberd from the related Achievement Diary?
Yeah. Crystal halberd, yes or no?
I didn't actually do it because I felt like one day we might want to do a quest to release it, and that was the only reason.
I think the only plans I had for things like that were quest related. But again, we've asked you how much you'd like to have quests. You voted, yes, we'd like to have quests, but we consider these, 5 other things to be more important. So we've never really had the opportunity to present you with a quest with awesome rewards that you might like to have. So we've obviously put those items on the back burner because they seem more relevant rewards from quests than anything else, really. I think Dragon Plate Body is a prime example. I think we brought that forward to you from, I think Slayer. We were talking about the thermonuclear soak devil dropping that. And you said, no, we went from a quest, which means we have to put that item on the back burner because, again, you don't want quests right now. But as things change and as we get through all the priorities that you might have, we start to run out of new ideas, we can start bringing up quests again.
Yeah. Well, as far as crystal items go, I think they're awesome. I'd totally be up for like a crystal. Okay, hang on. Do you call it a scimitar or a scimitar?
Scimitar.
Scimitar. My life is a
That's the
lie.
right way
Your life is a lie. It's aluminium as well.
It's like going to that
Jaguar.
shop to buy beds, isn't
vitamin.
it? Argos.
Argos.
All right, let's not do this.
Argos.
Okay, so
Jaguar.
crystal weapons in general.
Not doing
I'd like
Molly.
to see what they think. Don't have to pull it or anything.
I've got a question
but,
for you, Chris.
It's all right. I think
I got a question for you, and it is: anything interesting planned for the Old School YouTube channel?
Oh, yeah. So we've got some interesting stuff coming to the channel. For Christmas, the 12 Days of Christmas, which actually happened after Christmas, we're going to be doing a tips and tricks series. 1 video a day for 12 days straight. So they're not necessarily going to be the obvious, easiest tips and tricks. The first day, I believe, will be a beginner's tips. So if you're just starting, if you're just coming back after taking a year break or whatever, you don't know what to do, good money-making methods, you don't have the skills yet, anything like that, that's that sort of tricks, rather. And I think we're looking at doing some giveaways in those days as well. We've got some cool stuff to hand out, aside from just membership, obviously. We'll save those for when that series comes out. Yep. Aside from that, we've got the Thursday Q&As. If you don't watch these, we'll have these up every Thursday, as well as occasionally little highlights on the bigger topics. Fridays, we're doing a recap series where we touch back on what's happened this week. Surprisingly, a lot does happen in such a small team every week. So, if you don't have the time to read all the dev blogs, you can check out the video on Friday. Also doing a new series on that called the Player Spotlight series, where we focus on a few individuals who have done some good for the community, like a charity live stream or anything like that. So that's cool. And I'm not going to get in whatever else because I can go on, but there's a lot planned. So yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. All right, that's me. I'm done.
Your little shameless plug there.
Yeah.
Also follow me on Twitter.
And that one.
Okay.
Right, that looks like 69% yes, 31% no. So I'll definitely offer it in tomorrow's devlog, assuming I can finish it tonight.
Awesome.
And yeah.
That's quick.
Well, I haven't got around to plugging in stuff for that devlog, or not devlog, that
I'm going to have
task
to
system
come up with some
anyway.
stats for it at some point as well. But
Can we get a face crotch cosmetic item?
I'll sneak it in.
You tell Ronan's choosing the questions, can't you?
How about a fanny pack? A fanny pack that can be your tool belt and it can carry all your
Those
stuff.
are the most unattractive things ever. I remember, Alfie used to rave about these things. He was like, "It's so efficient." You think, no.
Yeah.
Oh, good Alfie.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Let's
Yes.
look at the chat for some questions because
Oh,
I'm
we
all
can
out.
do. I think we're actually on mod mode right now.
Yeah,
so.
we've got a couple of minutes left, so maybe we should pop over to Gareth, see how he's getting on.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool, right, I'm just going to collapse this symmetry layer just here. For anyone that's sort of interested in 3D modelling, what I tend to do is I'll just tend to work on one side of the model and then use this modifier just here to sort of mirror it each time. That way I'm not duplicating my work and you've got a much more even model. What I've done for you guys, just so you can kind of see the sections of the model a bit easier, is I've actually used a multi-sub-object material, which you can just get in your materials panel. And you can just set up a bunch of materials and select the poly regions. This is how I'd normally plan out a model for Old School, just to give me a rough idea of where I'm planning to put my colour palette. So yeah, if we kind of look at the final design here, the arms are kind of in there. Obviously it's all sort of very blocky and chunky at the moment. There isn't sort of a sense of elegance to it or anything, but that will sort of come at the later stage of modelling. But hopefully you guys can kind of get a bit more of a feel of what's going on here. Cool, and I think that's 6 o'clock now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
We turned off, yeah.
Oh, well done.
Nice one.
Cool.
Very well done in 1 hour.
Thank you.
Obviously, that will get tweeted out and screenshots and all sorts sent out over the next few days while he
Nice
continues
little
working on
teaser.
it.
Would have been really cool if we could have had whiteboards and then we could have tried to draw something as well in comparison to how well
Don't
Gareth
make
does
that
it.
idea. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
so you guys can get an idea of how talented he is.
So if you want to see that, obviously it's finished an article in game, go vote in the current poll.
Indeed.
Yep.
Cool.
Yes.
I think that's about it. And what else
That's
we've
about
got?
it.
Yes, we've got the poll going on, which you need to vote in, and that's and some turkeys. No, unusual chickens in
Unusual
game.
chickens,
yeah.
To
They
kill.
are unusual chickens. I heard that they drop a plate of entire cooked food.
Yeah, it's just impressive, isn't it? Amazing what you can get for chickens these days.
It's amazing what you can develop in about 25 minutes.
Yes.
All right, guys. So if you want to ask your questions for next Q&A, if you didn't get them in this time, every Thursday, Reddit and Twitter, we'll be posting and tweeting about them. So
Yeah.
there's another nice little
Absolutely. Don't forget to follow the Twitch channel and something else. We've got a stream tomorrow. We've got Mythbusters.
Right.
I think it's you, me, and Ronan will be here and debunking some of the common myths.
plug. Busting all
that you
kinds
have.
of myths.
Same time tomorrow, which
Yeah.
will be quite cool. So come join us
Have we?
then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When's that?
5 o'clock tomorrow.
Oh, I'll be busy.
Yes, you will. So yes, there's that, and we've got something else I wanted to say as well, but I can't remember what it was now.
It's a secret.
Follow us on Twitter. It's a secret. Yeah, it's a secret, don't say it.
Yeah. No, I don't remember.
I have no idea, but it's probably a
Can't
secret.
remember. Yeah, it's probably a secret.
We're very secretive.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got loads. I think we've got at least 2.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, cheers.
See you next week.
Bye.